Guys done? Are you guys done? Okay. Mohsin, I can't see you on the camera. Done? Okay, we will discuss the answers at the end. Now, over here, we have a small video which we are going to watch. It's not very small, but we are going to watch a video basically over here on how to be a good speaker. I'm going to play the audio. Let me know if it is audible.
Hello, I'm Jamil Zaiba, an international social etiquette consultant and the author of the book Etiquette: The Least You Need to Know. Today's video is dedicated to how to become a better speaker. I know a lot of you have been asking me to do a video on this topic, but I was quite hesitant at the beginning. Firstly, because I'm not a speaking coach, I'm not a Verbs coach, and also because when I was in university at GW, I had to take a voice and diction class. And funny story, I didn't pass the voice test. I was the only one in class who did not pass the voice test. When I was asked to speak more loudly, when I was asked to project my voice, I wasn't able to do it. So my voice did not pass a certain threshold. What happened at the end of the day, I did end up passing the class with very good grade, primarily because of my presentation skills and basically because of the way I was presenting information, giving speeches. But with a voice test, I failed it. I had to take extra hours with a special voice coach that massaged my larynx, that made me to speak in very crowded places and made me project my voice a lot louder, which I wasn't able to do. Today, as a teacher, I have to speak and I speak a lot, and sometimes I give personal or public workshops in front of a large audience. I need to project my voice. It is very difficult for me because of the physical traits of my vocal cords, but it's a work in progress. Now you know my story and why I was hesitant to do this video, but from my work experience, I was able to gather certain tips that I'm ready to share with you, and I hope they help you as well to become the best speaker that you can possibly be. First and foremost, why does speaking matter? I know a lot of you have been commenting on my videos, making funny jokes about how it's an unintentional ASMR video, and I love reading about that because I myself am a huge fan of ASMR, and I think a lot of people around the world are very sensitive to sounds. This is because sounds help us distinguish people that are amicable, credible, gentle, soft, kind, those kind of traits that we're looking in humans, and we are more likely to be drawn to those that share that. I'm sure I'm not alone in this, and I'm sure a lot of you have had experiences where you either dropped the class because the professor spoke too loudly, or maybe he spoke too fast, or maybe because the pitch of his voice was either too low or too high and you couldn't quite understand it, or the sound was very annoying to your ears. Or sometimes you fell in love with someone because of the way they sounded, without being amicable, likable by the electors. Interestingly, Margaret Thatcher, who was the UK Prime Minister in the 1970s, she had a voice coach, and that was because she had a very high-pitched voice that wasn't really likable by the electors, or it made her sound not confident and it made her sound not really credible. So the voice coach had to work to lower her pitch, to work on the tone of her voice, to help her alternate the tone of her speaking manner so that she sounds more interesting to her electors. Some have even gone as far as to get a surgery in their vocal cords in order to change the pitch of their voices. So politicians know that speaking is important, and we now know that it's important in almost all professions. Before we get into the tips on how to become a better speaker, I want to emphasize this. You don't have to sound like someone else, just like you don't have to be or look like someone else. You're you and you're unique. You have your own structured vocal cords, your larynx are unique to you, your lungs are unique to you. So the way you sound is the way you sound. And the only thing you can work on is how to become the best speaker that you can possibly be. First things first, let's get into more technical part. What are some elements of our sound, of our voice? Number one is the pitch. So what is pitch? The pitch is how your voice sounds based on the rate of the vibrations that the vocal cords produce. The range of the pitch is from low to quiet. Usually men tend to have lower pitched voices and women tend to have more high pitched voices. This is because of the hormones that we have. The hormones, testosterone and estrogen, influence the growth of our vocal cords and the structure of our vocal cords. So we are born with a certain structure of vocal cords, and that determines the pitch of our voice. Of course, some people have undergone plastic surgery to drastically change the pitch of their voice, but if you want to alternate just a bit within the same range, let's say you have a super high pitched voice and help you lower that a little bit, you can look up some exercise on how to alternate that. There are a lot of exercises online that can help you alternate the pitch of your voice within a small range. The second element is the volume. This refers to the speaker's voice level. We usually characterize this as being low or quiet, to being high, to being loud. Generally, men tend to have more louder voices. That's because of the structure of their larynx, of their vocal cords, and the size of their lungs. So the bigger all of them are, the louder is your voice. Women, on the other hand, tend to have more quieter voices. We tend to associate people with louder voices to be more outgoing, to be more confident, whereas people with quiet voices to be more shy. This is of course a stereotype, but in certain ways it is true. Apart from the physical characters that determines the volume of our voice, it's also the cultural upbringing, where we were born, our age, perhaps even how we hear also affects our voice level. People in Africa tend to speak more loudly than people in Asia, and that's a cultural difference. I have gotten emails where people tell me, oh, I speak so loudly, I feel like I'm looking obnoxious when I'm around other people. How can you help me to speak more quietly? And I think we need to be aware of what is our natural volume. And when we talk about natural volume, is what is the volume of your voice when you're alone by yourself, maybe speaking to your mom, or maybe speaking to your sister, or maybe when you're just singing a song or something. So that will establish the natural volume of your voice. And then observe, look at yourself in the side. How do you sound when you're in a social environment? Perhaps in a social gathering, you tend to lower your voice because you don't feel comfortable, or you feel shy around those people, or maybe you increase the volume of your voice because you want to be noticed or heard, you want to look more outgoing. This will help you to understand what really affects the volume of your voice. Again, I think whenever you choose a certain volume, you have to make sure that it works in your advantage. So that is helpful in your social life, that is helpful in your work life. If you're a teacher and you need to speak more loudly, then you should train yourself to project your voice. If you're a person that speaks already way too loudly, and you've been, be commented on the volume of your voice, and you want to lower it, then you should probably work on techniques to lower the natural volume of your voice. And the third, the most important element is your tone. And tone is really the rhythm, the pace of your speaking style. You have to alternate it in order to make it sound more interesting. We describe the tone as friendly or unfriendly. We can describe it as dominant. We can describe it as assertive or persuasive or sarcastic. There are different adjectives that we use to describe the tone depending on how we hear it from the person that is addressing us. I always tell my students that whatever the situation is, make sure you control your tone. Even if you can't control the message, make sure you control the tone. Let's say you're in a very hostile environment or someone asks you something impolitely. Keep your tone amicable, but send the message that you want to be sent. You can say something, I don't think this is the right way to address me. So you're using an amicable tone, but you're saying what you want them not to do, or you don't like the thing that they were doing. By having an amicable tone, you set the right environment for your message, because before they hear the message, they hear the tone of your voice. When it comes to public speaking, we always refer to monotone as something being bad or boring. If someone's presentation or speaking skill is monotone, it means that they speak on the same tone level. So the pace of your speech is the same, they don't alternate it, and therefore they bore the audience. It's important to keep that alteration in the right way so that the audience that listens to you stays engaged and understands when is the emphasis being made or when is the message important. This is done through tone and through enunciation. Enunciation is something that I will be shortly addressing in the tips. But for now, I just want to finalize it that the tone of your speech is like a salt and pepper to any dish. It's the thing that flavors, that gives that extra taste to your speech, to your speaking manner. So make sure that you work on the tone and the rhythm of your speech in order to make it more interesting. So here are some tips that will help you to become a better speaker. Number one is breathing. Breathing is so important because it's actually the air that passes through our vocal cords that makes them vibrate and produce a sound. Essentially, without air, we will make no sound at all. This is an exercise you can try at home. Exhale all the air from your lungs and try to say a long sentence. See how much you can actually say or how your voice sounds. And then inhale and say that sentence when you've inhaled and see how you sound now. You'll see that when you have exhaled and have no air in your lungs, you barely were able to complete the sentence. Whereas when your lungs are full of air, you're able to sound more confidently and speak more easily. Another thing that I suggest, oftentimes the reason we don't sound the way we would like to sound, especially when we are nervous, is because we run out of the air. When that is the case, make sure you take a pause. You pause, you inhale, you fill your lungs with the air, and you're ready to say a new sentence. Here's the breathing technique that a lot of public speakers are being taught, and that's called the diaphragmatic breathing, especially prior to giving a speech. So what happens is you have to put one hand on your chest and you put another hand below your rib cage. You inhale and you exhale. When you inhale and exhale, your chest will remain stable, but you have to feel the diaphragm that expands and contracts. When you're breathing this way, you're ensuring that the air is flowing very smoothly and enables you to speak the best way that you can. To wrap it up, to speak well, you have to inhale, you have to take pauses, to then make their message sound a lot stronger than if they were just to jump in and answer immediately. Along with the pauses, it's important to alternate the speed of your speech. And by that I mean how fast you talk. Let's say if you talk way too fast, you sound like you're anxious, you're nervous, it's most likely that people will not understand what you're saying, especially if you have an accent. Accent and speed will make it a disaster. People will not understand you. On the other hand, if you speak way too slowly, it's likely that you're going to bore your audience by the end of your speech. So keeping that alteration of speed makes your speech sound a lot more interesting and engaging to the audience. I like to compare it a lot with a song. So say any of your favorite songs, listen to it and observe the speed of the song. You're most likely to find the introduction to be slow, or either the introduction to be fast and the verse to be slow. There's definitely an alternation in the speed of the song that makes it so engaging and so likable. Taking the right posture is super important in the way you sound. You can see why politicians are speaking when they are standing up or when they're seated down and they are seated straight. This is because this posture allows the air to enter your vocal cords easily, therefore your vocal cords are able to vibrate more smoothly. On the other hand, if your shoulders are tense, if you slouch, if you take this uncomfortable position where you obstruct the air from entering your vocal cords, you will not sound so good. You will not have enough air in your vocal cords, and therefore they're not going to be able to vibrate that smoothly. Therefore, you will not sound so well. The next tip is drinking water. I'm sure you've noticed this when observing someone's interview or maybe listening to someone speak in front of a large public. They definitely have a glass of water nearby. And this is to make sure that the speaker is able to drink some water to hydrate the vocal cords so they're able to vibrate more smoothly. Many of us drink coffee early thing in the morning, and then we drink coffee throughout the day. And then we have to walk into the room in front of shareholders or clients and give a speech or presentation. Imagine what's happening to our vocal cords. They're dehydrated from coffee, and definitely we need to drink a lot of water to make sure that they are hydrated. So I advise you to drink a glass of water and take small sips of water every time right before the presentation is to be delivered. So let's say you have an hour before the presentation, so throughout that hour take sip by sip and drink that one glass of water. Do not drink all at once because it's not going to help much. It's not going to help hydrate your vocal cords in the way that you wish to hydrate them right before giving the speech. I usually make a comparison to applying a cream on your face. If you apply a whole bunch of cream on your face, not all of it will be absorbed immediately. Instead, layer it little by little, and in that way you will ensure that your skin is getting more hydration. The same technique applies to hydrating your vocal cords. Raise your voice only when necessary. I know a lot of us think that if we speak more loudly, people will be able to hear us better, but that's not always the case. We have to speak more loudly when we want to project our voice to a larger audience. Say it's a big room and there are people sitting way behind and they need to hear you too. In that case, you will be asked to speak more loudly. But if you want to draw the attention of people to you, do not speak more loudly. Instead, lower your voice. Because when you lower the voice, when it becomes more silent, when it becomes more quiet in the room, people will calm down and will actually notice you better. Have you ever heard of the power of a whisperer? I think that's true in a lot of cases that I've observed. Those who speak more quietly tend to draw the attention more to the message of what they're trying to deliver. You have to understand the difference between speaking loudly to be heard and speaking loudly to project your voice to those that are seated far away from you and need to hear you. If you want to draw attention, lower your voice. If you want to be heard by those in the back, raise your voice. The next tip that's so important is enunciation. And I say it like that because that's pretty much what it is. Enunciation, pointing out the letters in your words. It's different from pronunciation because pronunciation has to do more with the phonetics, with how certain letters together sound. And you might have pronunciation mistakes because perhaps you're speaking a language that's not your native language and you have difficulties in pronouncing certain words. Enunciation is different, is the way you speak out those letters. So for example, let's say you slur words or you drop certain letters, that is enunciation mistakes. An example that I want to give you is, let's say the word doing. We know that we have to pronounce the G at the end in ing. So we have to say, what are you doing? And instead we say, what are you doing? Without pronouncing the letter G. That makes us sound not so great. The listener will get tired of that kind of enunciation. You have to make sure that you pronounce the words and the letters correctly. You have to make sure that you don't drop any letters that have to be pronounced and that you have to emphasize the words without slurring or alternating them. And finally, I advise everyone who are working on their speaking manner is to film yourself. So you can do it on your smartphones. You can either video record yourself if you want to see how you look and how you sound together. But if you don't want to get distracted by the image of yourself, you might want to do a voice memo so you can actually listen to how you sound and work only on your speaking manner. Filming yourself, taping yourself is not a one-time thing. It's not like you do it, you look, and then you let it go. It's a lifelong process, I call it. I think it's a formation of your speaking style, so you have to continuously tape yourself and observe yourself from the side and work on certain things that you want to improve. Again, to all my viewers, I always say we don't have to sound or look like someone else. We have to be ourselves and we have to be the best version of ourselves. Trust me, it's a work in progress for everyone. You're not the only one working on yourself. We all are each and every day, and that's the only way that we can help ourselves. You are your best trainer and you're your best voice coach. I will not be able to be there and guide you through each and every step. But if you use these tips and apply it in your daily life, I assure you, you're going to be the best speaker that you can possibly be. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'm looking forward to your likes and comments. Please let me know what are some things that
Okay. Am I audible, guys? The mic. What did you guys understand from the video? So we need to observe our voice, like it high or low. And we need to, what is your pitch? What is your pitch? Okay. Dehydrated or hydrated? Okay.
Correct.
What else? Okay. Whichever sound needs to be produced in that word, you should make sure that you produce that word properly. Not
Correct.
produce. Okay, you should
Correct.
all the words, all the letters properly, all the sounds properly. Of course, the sounds which are silent. The way I said did you yesterday. Did you? You don't have to try to pronounce did you. No, did you. Okay, that's the proper enunciation that we will use for such kind of words. What else? Exactly. That's the whole thing that I've been telling you day one. Yes, that's called your word. Exactly. That's your word first. And the way you speak, it should have a rhythm. Okay? The intonation, basically what intonation, it should have a rhythm. When you speak, or even when you read something, it shouldn't be flat. Most of you guys, when you read the conversation, they're flat. A question
क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो, बता रहे हो, कुछ समझ में नहीं आता, right? Of course, this video is there in your notes also. Do go through it again, make notes, try to understand what you're saying. I'm also sharing one more video with you guys, which talks about your rhythm, how your sound should be. And this goes not only for English, okay, it goes for your native language also. Usually when we speak in native language, we have that rhythm because our native language is something that we have been practicing since our childhood. तो उसमें हमें सिखाना नहीं पड़ता, right? But when you talk about English, you have to teach because we are learning English now. That's why it becomes important that you follow that rhythm also. That's where someone will feel like listening to you. Now imagine me sitting here as a trainer. I'm not sure online guys how clear you are able to hear me, but try. If you're not able to hear me properly, just tell me how to please. Imagine me sitting over here and speaking. Today we will learn unit number 7. We had a great time. I think in this mainly we are going to talk about past tense. मुझे आ नहीं रहा फ्लैट टोन नहीं हो रहा, वो मेरा टोन भी नहीं, पिच भी नहीं हो रहा. So you pitch your tone, everything matters over here. Okay. Now imagine I was speaking in this way. अब पहला क्या अटेंड करके भाग जाते, राइट? अब बोलते यार टीचर इतने डर है, हमें कैसे सिखाएंगे, राइट? You didn't look at my knowledge, you didn't look at my personality, you didn't look at my degrees also. That's why communication matters a lot. Because the first impression, सब बाकी सारी चीज साइड में है. First impression is the way you communicate to the person. Okay, and in communication also these factors are your non-verbal factors. It's not only about words, it's also about tone. I'm speaking English fluently. मैं भी बिना मिस्टेक किए बोल रही हूँ, करेक्ट? लेकिन मेरा टोन है, मेरा पिच है, वहाँ पर मैटर कर रहा है. इवन मैं बॉडी लैंग्वेज लगी हूँ, बॉडी लैंग्वेज तो नहीं गई हूँ, बिकॉज अब मैं वैसे भी पैकेट हूँ. My body language is very lousy. I'm sitting like this or like this. हाँ guys, so today we are going to discuss. We had a great time. So it means I'm laid back. I'm not very interested in reading you. I just पढ़ाने के लिए पढ़ा रही हूँ. Correct? So factors matter a lot. Okay. It totally attracts how you're talking, whom you're talking to, and वो सामने वाला पर्सन आपसे बात करने में कितना इंटरेस्टेड होगा. आई डोंट नो इफ यू गाइस हैव एवर ऑब्जर्व, कुछ लोग होते हैं जो बात करते हैं तो उनको सुनने का मन ही नहीं करता. ऐसा लग रहा है बंद करोगे तब वो भी गाने गया अभी, वो हिंदी में हो, इंग्लिश में हो, कोई भी लैंग्वेज में आ सकता है. बट द वे दे टॉक यू डोंट फील लाइक लिसनिंग टू देम. ऐसा लगता नहीं है बस हो गया. 2 मिनट की बात करेंगे, वो तो एनर्जी की बात अलग हो जाती है, वेरी फील एग्जॉस्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ एनर्जी, बिकॉज ऑफ दूसरा नेगेटिव. बट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द पिच. वो इतना फ्लैट टोन में और वो इतना लो पिच में बात करते हैं. इतना मतलब हम बोलते हैं let's not go to any personalities. Even I can do a lot of personalities, but let's not go to personalities. Yeah, exactly. The way we take pauses, the way we... Exactly. Pauses देखने जैसे रहता है. वो ऐसे पॉज होते कि हाँ आप उस पॉइंट में सोच रही, दूसरा है उससे रात खा करें, रात खा करें. We always want to do this कोई भी देने दो. Now even you guys also reading the conversation, you guys are reading it out, right? But it's not easy to read out also. What there also you need to understand. But मैं राहुल का स्पीच पूरा सुनता हूँ. He's very good at what he's doing. Guys, आपका रिकॉर्डिंग नहीं मिलेगा आप लोगों को. रिकॉर्डिंग नहीं मिलेगा. I have never heard this thing, so I'm not going to comment on it. मोदी का ना स्पीच सुनना जब वो एक स्कूल के साइंस स्कूल के हिस्ट्री प्रोग्राम था, वहाँ वो क्या आंसर दे रहा था मैथ्स के मोदी की. You're talking about knowledge and belief. We're talking about language, and we're talking about the way language only. But Doesn't matter only. Whatever he does, just throw around. Okay, let's keep it aside. Let's come back to next page. But we'll talk about it after 9 o'clock, after our class is over. Okay. Okay. Coming back to pitch. Okay. The pitch, if it is very, very low, the person will not feel like it. Of course, when you're tired, it comes with that. But whenever you have to give any kind of presentation, whenever you have to give any kind of speech, or even your board meetings, when you conduct meetings, anything, wherever you're talking, जहाँ पर आपका communication important हो जाता है for your business, basically. So that's where you have to make sure that your pitch is high. Okay, this becomes very, very important. For females, this is super important. For females, this is super important. Coming to that. If I talk with low pitch, it's highly possible that the other person will catch wrong. Other person will be. Okay. In a conversation, I'm talking about if you want to be a leader. If you don't want to be a leader, if you're okay with being wherever you are, totally fine. If you're secure, totally fine. But if you're looking to grow in your career, it becomes very, very important that your pitch needs to be high. That's what shows that you're assertive. Okay? Assertive का क्या हो जाता है? Whatever you want to say, you are saying it directly, and you are not going to take no for an answer. For example, क्या हो गया? Okay. So if I say to Abhishek right now, Abhishek, can you keep that bag aside? You will do it, right? But I think Abhishek, so backside. That's the difference if you guys observe that. Okay? I'm going to put on the camera so that the online guys are also entertained what's happening there. Okay, so that's how your pitch matters. Okay, it changes the scenario, I would say. It changes your personality. Then coming to pause, just the pronunciation, enunciation, we talked about it. But coming to tone. Now the way I said to him, the way I told him the sentence. Abhishek, can you keep that bag? Can you please keep that bag aside? I was assertive, but I was not rude. I was not mean. I was not very kind नहीं थी मैं मुझे kind होना ही नहीं था मुझे means I was good okay in my tone I was basically good over there in a polite way also I was not rude correct I was not sarcastic also I was really sarcastic okay अगर मैं बोलूँ sarcastic ये के बाद आ रहा ना आप इसलिए आप चैलेंज होगा sarcastic नहीं होगा sarcastic अगर मैं बोलती is there a problem with you? Can't you pick up bag aside? That's rude and that's sarcastic also. So your tone matters. Now, I know all these are non-verbal factors. Sometimes we are not in that mood. उस वजह से हमसे वो tone निकल जाता है. I don't want to be mean to him, but maybe my day is not going good. And I am pissed with myself, which I am today. I am pissed with myself. And I just said it to him. उससे मुझे गुस्सा नहीं आ रहा कुछ भी. But just मुझे वो काम बोलना था, I was in bad mood, I just said it. That will come out in a wrong way, right? अगर वो उसका फर्स्ट क्लास बताओ बोलता रहे नाम से रूड है वो मुझे नहीं करना इस नाम का क्लास जाए है ना that is a normal reaction anyone will have even I would have if I meet someone for the first time and he talks rudely to me I would not go back to him to talk to him of course okay so that's why we have to be mindful उल्टा मैं तो बोलूँगी जब मूड खराब होता है you have to be more mindful of your sentences because that time you don't want to be rude but whatever you will say will come out as rude that's why we have to be careful बहुत बार ऐसे हो जाता है कि हम कोई और मूड में है उनसे जिसे बोल दिया that's why we have to be mindful अरे यार ऐसे नहीं बोलना था some battles say no sorry I mean to say अभी तो चलो प्लीज keep that bag aside तो उसको समझ जाएगा ना कि हाँ शायद होगा कुछ प्रॉब्लम होगा, बट देन शी सेड सॉरी एंड शी सेड पोलाइटली आफ्टर दैट कि प्लीज कीप दैट बैलेंस, करेक्ट। तो उसको भी समझ में आएगा कि हाँ शायद बैड मूड में है, इसके लिए कि उन्होंने पहले सार्कास्टिकली बोल दिया, बट वो मेरे पे रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं, या फिर वो ओवरऑल सार्कास्टिक नहीं। Okay, that is the way I handle it. You won't get it. Don't go anywhere. That is the way I handle it. Okay. So this is also very important because हम बहुत बार बोल देते हैं चीजें मुझे, हमें लगता नहीं है। हाँ, exactly, जब वहाँ पर तो टीचर्स मुझे रिमूव होते ही है, यार मुझसे बोलते हैं। हाँ, पोलाइटली, एग्जैक्टली। तो वहाँ पर बहुत मैटर करता है ये सारी चीजें। अगर आपको लगता है, ऑफकोर्स यू हैव टू बी सेल्फ अवेयर, यू हैव टू बी माइंडफुल ऑल्सो कि आप कैसे बोलते हैं, and that's where you can come back and correct yourself. But that's where I will say you be mindful, try to be mindful कि आप next time जिस sentence सही बोलते हो, try to analyze अगर ये sentence मैं सुनती होगी, ये rude होता, selfish होता, sarcastic होता, polite होता, courteous होता। courteous मतलब क्या? politely बोलेगी। तो मैंने तो first sentence बोला, can you please keep that bag aside of the place? तो रखेगा, क्यों नहीं रखेगा? कोई भी आके रखेगा। तो बाहर वाले को भी बोलो ऐसे तो उनके तो करेगा मेरे लिए काम, राइट? तो दैट्स व्हाट मैटर्स। आप लोगों ने भी दूसरी चीज में ये बोलूंगी जो कि मेरा ही एग्जाम्पल है, बट आप लोगों ने बहुत बार देखा होगा कुछ लोग आपके ग्रुप में और योर फैमिली एनीवेयर, बेसिकली योर ग्रुप, आई वुड से, यू विल ऑब्जर्व दैट वन पर्सन इज देयर हु गेट्स थिंग्स डन, राइट? और हमेशा उसी के पास हम जाते हैं कि अरे कुछ काम है, अरे तो बोलना हो जाएगा। क्यों? हम भी तो बोल सकते हैं, बट सामने वाला पर्सन बोलेगा तो हो जाता है। क्यों होता है? बिकॉज ऑफ दिस टोन, बिकॉज ऑफ द वे यू हैंडल। ऑफकोर्स पीपल के इंस्टेंस में आते हैं द वे यू बिहेव विद पीपल, बट अलॉन्ग विद दैट योर टोन, इंटोनेशन, हाउ पोलाइट यू आर, हाउ कर्टियस यू आर, वो भी मैटर करता है। ओके, तो आई फील एवरीवन शुड बी लाइक जो काम करा के प्यार से, दैट इज हाउ इट शुड बी, ठीक है? अलॉन्ग विद दैट ऑफ कोर्स योर पॉजिटिव मैटर। Whenever you say a sentence, your full stop should have 0.5 seconds pause. The comma should have 0.2 seconds pause. Especially when you're giving a presentation or a speech, your sentences should have pauses. It gives people time to think. Okay, that is the reason they matter. Especially when you ask rhetorical questions. And you look at rhetorical questions क्या होता है? Rhetorical questions are the questions which are not actually questions but a statement with a question mark. Okay, मतलब हमें ऐसी चीज बोलनी होती है जिसका आंसर देना नेसेसरी नहीं होता। कैसे एग्जाम्पल जो आपको होते हैं?
Suppose I saw a movie or something, where something is a family and then they keep a question mark.
नहीं, वो तो क्वेश्चन मार्क ही हुआ ना। फिर rhetoric question is basically where you raise some kind of concern in that question, but that question doesn't need a yes or no answer or any explanatory answer also. If I say, do we need to talk about the solution? We don't need to talk. It's a rhetorical question, correct? Delhi का politician अभी चला था। I'm not going to take the win. Okay. So, because this is getting recorded, if it was not recorded, I would have talked about it. It is getting recorded. But of course, the recording is not going to be there on YouTube after this. So, if I say, do we need to talk about the solution? Can't we see the can't we see the solution in Yamuna River? So it's not a question which you need to answer. Everyone can see, correct? You know what the answer to it is. Universal truth, जो कि हम कोई एक मैथड को लेके बोल रहे हैं, ठीक है? तो उसके लिए हमें कोई एक्सप्लेनेटरी आंसर की जरूरत नहीं, कोई हाँ यहाँ की जरूरत नहीं होती, बट it makes the audience think about it. Okay, that is the reason the person should take a pause over there so that the audience can answer that in their own. Rhetorical questions, I just said for it. ठीक है, स्पेलिंग की तो RHETORICAL, rhetorical question. RHE, Rhetorical. R-H-E-T-O-R-I-C-A-L. Rhetorical question. R-H-E-T-O-R-I-C-A-L. Rhetorical. जैसे भी आप सर्च कर लोगे जब इस करेंगे के साथ सही स्पेलिंग आ जाएगी वहाँ पे ठीक है नहीं मिला मुझे बोल रहा है समझा मैसेज क्लियर so these things are very important not only what you speak but how you speak is also very important in everyday life अगर आप कस्टमर से बात करते हो अगर आप रोज बिजनेस मीटिंग्स करते हो अगर आप कोई ऐसी मीटिंग हैंडल करते हो जहाँ पर कंपनी के स्टेट मैटर करते हैं इट मैटर्स अ लॉट ठीक है otherwise also in your relationships in your family also it matters a lot we take them for granted but it does matter okay clear so these are experience in my okay yes please go on yeah so this girl is there in our community so while she's speaking now she's from North East and she speaks very slowly and her voice is very quiet very low yeah very low so she's very quiet type of person only so people just her and tell her in the face only why don't you speak loudly why you are like this so I've experienced this because her tone is very low very low yeah. Exactly but sometimes we have to also understand some people speak very low yeah. Like the way you heard her video right now her pitch is low right that is totally fine but where will it matter if she is speaking a class of 100 students if she is speaking a class of she's taking a speech or a webinar basically seminar which includes 100 people but of course we have to tell her we can use my speakers so some people have a very low voice that's fine but that's where we have to at least make sure that at least we are little assertive okay low pitch पे भी हम assertive होकर बात कर सकते ओके अभी मेरा पिच आप 5 साल पहले सुनते ऐसा नहीं था my pitch was very very low and even the way of speaking was very underconfident it had even more confidence when I started training I had to actually work on my pitch along with that yes I speak very fast my rate of speech is very very fast which you guys must have also observed yes but while I'm training I try to be slow मैं जब नॉर्मली मेरे से बात करोगे मैं बहुत फास्ट बात करती हूँ करेक्ट बट मैं ट्रेन कर रही हूँ आई ट्राई टू बी स्लो so that's where you also have to understand what are your patterns that's where you have to as I said you have to be little self aware you have to analyze yourself आप जब बात कर रहे हो नॉर्मली तब आप एनालाइज कर सकते हैं तो रिकॉर्ड करके एनालाइज कर सकते हैं बट मैं रिकॉर्डिंग ये सजेस्ट नहीं करती बिकॉज जब हम रिकॉर्ड करते हैं वी आर माइंडफुल ऑफ इट कि हम खुद को रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं मैं बोलूँगी रिकॉर्ड अगर आप करना है ना तो आपको 4 कॉन्वर्सेशन रिकॉर्ड करें विथ योर बेस्ट फ्रेंड विथ योर फैमिली मेंबर और एनीवन दैट नॉर्मल language also would do but English would be better because as we are practicing it becomes better correct but even if you are recording it in your native language I think that will still work it will help you analyze how you speak आप फास्ट बात करते हो कि नहीं करते अभी मैं हिंदी मराठी में फास्ट नहीं बात करती मैं इंग्लिश में फास्ट बात करती थोड़ा सा वेरिटी हो सकता है मैं ठीक है मैं रेट ऑफ स्पीच की बात करूँ रेट ऑफ स्पीच मतलब क्या कि आप कितना स्लो या फिर कितना फास्ट बात करते हैं ठीक है ना मैंने स्पीच नॉर्मली से ऑब्जेक्ट क्या है वो ज़्यादा ज़्यादा हाँ डू दैट डोंट डू दैट ऐसे करते हैं बट मैंने ट्रेनिंग आई गो किया करेक्ट so that's what matters for this. Now along with that, if you would have heard my pitch 5 years back, you would have been like, nice person go with it. But of course, I practice on it. ये वीडियो मैंने कब का देखा हुआ yeah that's why I have included in my course because this video helped me when I started training in MIT. When I was training in MIT, I was teaching a batch of 100 or 120 students. And no teachers. I had to be मेरा pitch slow था और मुझे जोर से बात करने की, ताकि सबको मेरा आवाज सुनाई दे। इमेजिन मेरा पिच कितना मुझे हाई करना होता, करेक्ट। और फिर उस टाइम पे ऐसा हो गया था कि मेरा पिच इतना हाई हो गया था कि मैं पब्लिक प्लेसेस में भी उनकी पिच में बात करती थी। मुझे डांट पड़ती थी इस्तेमाल में। तो दैट्स व्हाई व्हाट वी सेड ना, दैट वी हैव टू अडैप्ट टू द सिचुएशन दैट वी आर आल्सो। बट वो ऐसा कहते हैं कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम व्हेन यू आर ट्रेनिंग यू गेट दैट पिच। तो अभी मैं मोस्टली बाहर जब बात करती हूँ पब्लिक प्लेसेस में, आई एम वेरी लाउड because you get used to that because of training, because you are supposed to be loud because of training, correct? So that also matters. But again, adapt to this. Very grammatical also. Because my whole family is very loud. Yeah, it is also culture specific. Okay. Most of the time you observe that Gujaratis are loud. South Indians are also very loud. It is culture specific also. That's why you see that the Koreans and Chinese are very low basically. So it's culture specific also. Okay, that's why he said, no, then you have to understand the culture also. The culture that you said again, उसकी culture में वो तो हम बात करते हैं, वो बीच में बात करते हैं. So you can't ask that person to be high pitched, correct? You just ask that person to be assertive. मैटर कब करता है कि लो पिच के साथ में आप भी और स्लो बात करें. अभी वो भी like in the video also Jamila is talking. I want to stop again. I'm sorry. So her pitch is also low, but she's speaking assertively. बोर नहीं हो रहा आपको, करेक्ट. बट अगर उसमें हम स्लो बात करेंगे तो बोर हो जाए. दैट्स व्हाट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. पिच स्लो है चलेगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, बट ऐसा टोन होना चाहिए जहाँ पर सामने वाला बोर है, समझे. So that's where we have to analyze our patterns and we have to work around it. But again, it matters if pitch high है, so it will come out as rude. Okay, that also matters because बहुत लोगों का मैंने देखा है कि उनका pitch high है, but वो जब बात करते तो वैसे लगता है वो rude बात करे. So that's why we have to be courteous and we have to be polite and we have to be kind. No, you don't sound like rude. I have never observed you as a rude. Okay. What do you guys think, Ajit and Sangeeta? Nothing का ना demonstrate होता है. Nothing चला जाता है ना मतलब for अंदर. Yes. Sangeeta needs to work on this. Sangeeta's pitch is very good. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So work on that. It's very important. I thought I finished 17 minutes today. Unfortunately, I haven't finished today. Okay. So I will try to finish it tomorrow. बता दिए ना कॉलेज क्लास में. अच्छा अभी का my bad. Sorry guys. I apologize. See, I was good, but I didn't answer that. Okay, I admitted to them when they came, I'm very tired today. मैं फिर डिलेमा में किसी घर चली जाऊँ. तो उसमें किसने बोला आई विल अटेंड, आपने बोला ना आई विल अटेंड टुडे. उसमें और मुझे इच्छा हो रही थी कि मैं किसी चली जाऊँ. बोल देते हैं. The next carrot was there? Yeah. Okay. It's costly, no? But every Wednesday you have it over here. I guess in Nagarpatna there are only Sundays. But it's near Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi. It's at the backside of your Nagarpatna. Third side. He's talking about the long. Okay, which test will you tell me the number of the test, please? 4. Okay. Sun Exercise number 3. Number 1. Sun, snow, wind, moon, rain, lightning, sky, ice, fog, stars. Then we have exercise number 4. Under, behind, from, in. All correct? Very good. Excellent.